All right, imagine this. Andy Warhol kicks the bucket, and somebody stumbles upon, get this, 641. Huge, sealed crates. I mean, what in the world?
Yeah, you'd think, like, the holy grail of pop art.
Right.
Lost masterpieces, some crazy eccentric stuff that just screams Warhol. But what they find, it's almost comical.
It really is. They pry open these bad boys, right? They were like bolted shut from the inside. And drumroll, please. A Big Mac. Fossilized.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Complete with sauce that's basically turned into tar, a bun that looks like it would crumble if you breathed on it.
Oh.
And wait, it gets better. A mummified foot. Seriously, a freaking mummy foot. You got to wonder what was going on in that guy's head.
The absurdity, right, it just makes you question, like, what was Warhol trying to achieve here? What was the point of these seemingly random objects? It's like this bizarre window into the depths of his artistic psyche.
Totally. And then this quirky dude, he just shrugs it off. When asked about all this junk, he says, my legacy, and then he drops this bomb. Everyone collects something. Memories, moments, crap. Some make it visible, like me. Others, they do it in their heads. Boom, there you have it. Suddenly, it's not about Warhol's bizarre hoarding habits, but about you and me and every other weirdo out there hoarding stuff in their minds.
Exactly. Warhol's statement, as simple as it sounds, shifts the focus to this universal human tendency. Mentally collecting experiences and memories.
Yeah.
We all carry around these invisible crates in our heads.
Absolutely. Think about it. You glorious listener out there. These mental crates are crammed with all the junk we lug around. Every stupid argument from years ago where the perfect comeback only hit you as you were falling asleep.
Oh, yeah.
Every messed up situation that plays on repeat in your brain at 3 in the morning. Every missed train, every dumb decision, that never-ending what-if movie. Our brain's like a hoarder's paradise for screwed up memories.
And these mental crates, they can really weigh us down, right? It's like living in a completely cluttered room where you can barely breathe.
Yeah.
These constant replays of negative experiences, those unresolved coulda, woulda, shoulda scenarios, they eat away at you and hold you back in the present moment.
Exactly. You basically turn into a pathological hoarder inside your own head because you think every little insignificant piece of crap has some deeper meaning. Newsflash, my friend. It doesn't necessarily.
No.
This clinging to past garbage can be seriously overwhelming and prevent you from moving forward. I mean, come on, who wants to drag around the baggage of 10 years ago?
The analogy to pathological hoarding is spot on.
Yeah.
It's about this irrational attachment to things that have long lost their value, be it an old Big Mac or a faded memory. And just like with real hoarders, it leads to losing sight of what's truly important and suffocating in your own chaos.
And that's where this brilliant idea comes in, the one they call the two-voice trick. Warhol, calmly munching on his prehistoric Big Mac like some enlightened guru, says you've got to get rid of these mental landfills by understanding how your own mind works. It's almost a spiritual revelation, considering it's coming from a guy who collected mummified feet.
What's fascinating is the sheer simplicity of this insight. Our inner monologue isn't some uniform mush. It's this lively debate between different inner voices. Warhol identifies two pretty archetypical players here. The collector and the declutterer.
Exactly. The collector is that annoying voice in your head that keeps telling you that everything is important. Every tiny detail, every irrelevant experience needs to be preserved for eternity. It's a memory. It was important. That voice screeches inside my skull. Sometimes I wish I could just like verbally slap it. And then you've got the declutterer, the voice of reason and liberation. It just says, whatever, get rid of it.
Yeah.
This voice understands that not every dumb thing we've experienced needs to define our lives forever. Sometimes it's liberating to just hit the mental flush button.
And then comes the crucial question. Who wins this internal battle? Warhol's simple answer. The one you feed. Makes sense, right? But somehow, we constantly forget this basic wisdom in our everyday madness. We stuff our inner nag with rumination and self-reproach, while the declutterer is put on a starvation diet.
Absolutely. It's about making a conscious choice. Which inner voice do we give our attention to and, therefore, invest our mental energy in? If we're constantly focused on the collector's whining, we're giving it power over our thinking. It's like boxing.
Yeah.
The one who lands the most punches dominates the ring, or in this case, your brain.
And the text suggests this pretty wild idea. Bring this internal theater to the stage, like have a poetry slam of your own gray cells, the collector and the declutterer in a direct verbal showdown. Who would have thought your own brain could be so entertaining?
Right. Probably more entertaining than Warhol's mummified foot, for sure.
What's clever about it is this externalization of the inner conflict. By giving these two voices personalities and letting them clash in an imaginary thought poetry slam, We can gain a more detached and often humorous perspective on our own thought patterns.
Like watching your own inner circus from a safe distance.
Exactly.
Imagine this. The collector is whining, "No, you can't throw that away. It's a precious memory. It was important for your development." And the declutterer just shoots back, "Oh, shut up, you sentimental fool. It was embarrassing. And it was 8 years ago. Not even the moths in your wallet remember it anymore." I love that brutal honesty.
Right. This humorous verbal exchange really highlights the absurdity of some of our inner monologues in a pretty entertaining way. The collector desperately clings to the past, while the declutterer, with pragmatic sobriety, points out the utter uselessness of this attachment. It's like the difference between a romantic and an accountant. They both see the world differently.
And then comes the kicker. The declutterer should win. You're supposed to really stage this, like take a piece of paper that says past on it and tear it to shreds with glee. That's a clear message to your subconscious. Screw you, past, I've got better things to do.
I love it. This visualization of letting go can have a surprisingly powerful psychological effect.
Right.
It's a symbolic act that signals to our brain, this past no longer has power over me. I'm making a conscious decision to leave it behind.
Because, and this is a nice image too, our mind isn't some endless landfill for old junk, but a stage. And we're the damn directors who decide which tired old plays are performed there and which ones finally get the boot.
Yes. This metaphor emphasizes the active role we can play in shaping our inner world. We're not helpless victims of our memories and our internal chatter.
We have the power to choose what we let in and what we ruthlessly discard.
And for anyone thinking, okay, this all sounds fun and games, but how do I not only get my own chaotic head under control, but maybe even get an audience to listen to me? The text actually has a quirky suggestion. The book, Poetry Master: The Power of Poetry in 7 Days.
It sounds suspiciously like a weekend seminar for wannabe poets, but hey, who knows?
The recommendation of this book creates an interesting bridge from the inner stage of our mind to the external stage of performance. It's about applying the principles that help us organize and control our own jumbled thoughts to connect with and captivate an audience. From mental chaos to stage presence, quite an ambitious leap.
Exactly. It's touted as a kind of Swiss Army knife for stage magic, a laser beam to capture the audience's attention, a sledgehammer against boredom. Pretty aggressive language for a poetry book, right? But it doesn't just promise lyrical outpourings for lonely souls. It promises tangible tools to manipulate, inspire others.
The description as a weapon suggests that this is about the conscious and deliberate use of language and performance to achieve maximum impact. It's not just art for the ivory tower, but a means of communication and, yes, influencing the audience. Who knew poetry could be so dominant?
And what exactly are you supposed to learn from this mysterious poetry master? Firstly, how to use two voices to captivate the audience without them falling asleep out of boredom. That reminds me a lot of the two-voice trick we just dissected, only applied to a bunch of strangers instead of your own inner chaos.
That's the fascinating transfer. The ability to portray different perspectives or inner conflicts through two voices in a poem or performance can create incredible dynamism and emotionally engage the audience. It's like a ping-pong match of emotions, only with words.
Secondly, you're supposed to learn how to build suspense so that you could hear a pin drop in the audience. That's obviously a key element of any good story or performance, whether on a real stage or on that little stage in your head. If you don't create suspense, you don't get attention. It's that simple.
Suspense creates attention and curiosity. It keeps the audience, or our own inner attention, captivated and amplifies the impact of the message or insight we want to convey. It's like a good thriller. You absolutely want to know what happens next.
And thirdly, how to write poems that are not only heard, but also felt. That's what it's all about in the end, right? Creating an emotional connection with the audience, whether that audience is your own confused brain or a pack of poetry slam fans. If you don't touch people, you might as well write your words on the wind.
Emotional resonance is the key to lasting impact. When we manage to evoke feelings, our words and messages stick with people longer and can unfold a deeper meaning. It's the difference between a superficial joke and a story that truly moves you.
And then comes this unambiguous call to action. This isn't esoteric mumbo-jumbo. It's about the hardcore guide to absolute dominance on stage. Whether you really need that to conquer your inner demons is debatable, but it emphasizes the confident claim of this book.
The wording is deliberately provocative and aims to highlight the practical benefits and effectiveness of the techniques taught. It's about giving you tools to communicate your message powerfully and convincingly.
And then this final bold question thrown right in our faces. Do you have 641 crates of mental garbage in your head? Well, if we're honest, the answer is probably pretty damn close, right? And then you know if it might be time for a mental spring cleaning.
This question's rhetorical, of course, but it aims precisely at self-reflection. It challenges us to take an honest look at how much untidy baggage we're mentally lugging around and whether it's high time to do something about it. Maybe we should all declutter our inner war holes.
So bottom line is actually quite simple. We all have this inner compulsive hoarder who wants to keep every meaningless piece of junk, and the inner pragmatic declutterer who wants to finally make some space.
And we have the damn choice of who we listen to and whose advice we follow.
Exactly. Maybe we should throw the declutterer a few virtual cookies more often so they stay strong and haul out the mental trash.
The analogy of feeding the respective voice is a good mnemonic. By consciously focusing on thoughts that do us good and move us forward, we strengthen the declutterer side within us and can free ourselves from unnecessary mental baggage.
And maybe this silly idea of a poetry slam stage in your head actually helps. The collector clings to an embarrassing karaoke night from 10 years ago, and the declutterer says, bored, oh, come on, nobody cares about that anymore. Maybe we just need to become aware of this inner dialogue so we can finally pull the plug.
Visualizing this inner conflict, whether on an imaginary stage or by symbolically tearing up a piece of paper that says past, can help us gain a healthier distance from our negative thoughts and memories.
In the end, it comes down to this. Our mind is our damn stage, and we're the directors. We decide which embarrassing or encouraging performances take place there, and which ones disappear into the archives forever. And if you're looking for inspiration on how to not only captivate your own pigsty of a mind, but maybe even an audience, you might find some questionable but potentially useful tools in Poetry Master. It's about taking control both of our inner and outer stages.
Exactly. It's about becoming aware of our own mental processes and actively shaping which thoughts and experiences should define our lives. And engaging with creative expression such as poetry can be a surprisingly useful way to gain and refine this control. Who would have thought that rhymes of all things would help against inner chaos?
On that note, be creative.